glowing bubbles, pretty bubbles in the air.
Hey, it's Beth here, episode 351. Okay, I've been sitting on this since Sunday because I don't even know where to put it. Long before the woke, there were the wide awakes. So this guy named John Grisham, a curator of political history at the Smithsonian National Museum of American History and the author of Wide Awake, the Forgotten Force that elected Lincoln and spurred the Civil War. So scary. Okay, so, things were getting all slavery. Frederick Douglass wrote the book. The conflict loomed. Cannot tolerate free speech. Okay, all of that's going on. And it just boils over to this thing that happened. The pushback came from a surprising place, Hartford, Connecticut. Even that orderly New England town saw brutal mobbings. In the 1856 presidential campaign, local Democrats blasted the Republican rally. Okay, the Republicans were against slavery, with fireworks angled like cannons into crowds of men and children and women. So to kick off the 1860 campaign, local Republicans invited the brawling Kentucky abolitionist Cassius Clay. Do you remember Muhammad Ali? His first name was Cassius Clay, and I remember hearing one word about it. This guy started everything. When he was invited, that turned into a riot. It electrified the crowd. They called him Cassius Clay took the stage on a wintry February evening, attacking the way the forces of slavery suppressed the speech of the pulpit and the freedom of the press, and he warned that an insurrection was certain. The insurrection began that evening when Cassius Clay spoke. The audience filtered out into the night, and they saw a strange, dreamlike mirage. It was 5 textile clerks in black, shiny, makeshift capes. Though designed to keep torch oil from dripping on their clothing, the outfits embodied the same aggressive verve Clay had just expressed. As the 5 cape clerks led a torchlit march through town, Democrat thugs attacked them. When young Republicans beat them back, a movement was born. Cassius Clay started this movement. Muhammad Ali took that name. This should have been in the history books, or I should have heard this story at that time. The movement was like a huge fighting flag. It flashed across the North. Young Chicagoans organized the Republic National Convention, took it up, outfitted thousands of wide awakes in a few weeks. Companies exploded from there, all over the country, from Maine to California. This happened in weeks, led by German radicals in Milwaukee, fugitive slaves in Boston, Knickerbocker aristocrats on Broadway, anti-slavery Southerners in D.C., and even young women in Mount Holyoke in Massachusetts. They started it, and it took off. By the end of that summer, there were 500,000 wide awakes in a nation of 31 million. Some wide awakes were radical, abolitionists, others cautioned moderation, but they all shared a sense of pro-slavery forces that were suppressing their views, and it made them crazy. By the time Lincoln won the election, it was really done by the wide awakes, and he acknowledged that. But he was trying to lower the volume, lower the temperature on that movement. He was actually trying to get rid of them. Wide awake hotheads, as he referred to them, also began to repurpose their marches as fighting, as fights, as brawls, as fights for liberty. Some wrote to Lincoln offering to send thousands of armed wide awakes to his inauguration. This terrified Lincoln, and he couldn't control it, and he couldn't tamp it down. With all of his orating skills, he could not stop the wide awake movement. And he knew that there would be no moderation. When Confederates fired on Fort Sumter, they began the Civil War, but the fighting killed no one. The first bloodshed came from a kind of street mobbing that had escalated over decades. Okay, so that it was starting, but the wide awake movement brought it to a head. And as Massachusetts troops headed through Baltimore a few days later after Fort Sumter, those anti-wide awake national volunteers led a force against them. Soldiers were killed, 30 died in the street. Wide awakes who had started out as demonstrators were now combatants. This all happened after his inauguration, right after, and it was out of control. What had been a political organization with militaristic motives became a military organization with political motives. That's a big difference. And he could not stop it. Textbooks use the passive phrase, the coming of the Civil War. But the war didn't come. Americans brought it, argued it, and protested it into being. And Lincoln had no power over controlling it. He wanted to do it over his entire presidency. He wanted to slowly dismantle what was in the South and help them figure out how to maintain what they had and build it in a new, different way. Give people money. He had a vision, and this was not his vision. He did not want a civil war more than anybody in the world. But the anti-woke movement made it happen. So textbooks use the passive phrase, the coming of the Civil War. But the war didn't come. Americans brought it, argued it, protested it into being. The wide awakes helped repoliticize that story as an unfolding and a certain tug-of-war between speech and action, equal parts inspiring and troubling, marching for the best of causes that help to bring on the worst of consequences. Wow, that is scary, and we should all learn about it. I had to take a nap after that. I had to lie down. I'm not even kidding. Wide awakes, woke, like how nobody even says that. They never saw the same language. Like, and all these amazingly educated journalists that went to the best schools, and we don't. I find that out right now. Wow. What are they doing? Just regurgitating what everyone else says? That's interesting stuff. Everybody should be talking about that or knowing it. And Cassius Clay, that would have been a great moment to bring that up. And Lincoln, that it makes me feel sorry for him. I wish he'd had a chance to do it his way. Maybe we wouldn't have lost thousands of people. So anyway, really sad story. Okay, now here's a really good one. Got to balance myself out. John Mulaney, who was married to Olivia Munn, and they have that baby, Malcolm, and he was married to someone else before that. But Olivia has cancer. It's all very complicated for me. Very emotional, and the little boy is very cute, and he does seem to be, he's a really funny guy. Anyway, what he's done now is he's got this show, and he is creating a movement in clothes that I am so happy about. The colors are beautiful. He uses browns, maroons together. I'm telling you, it looks great. And he wears shoes. He doesn't wear sneakers. He looks wonderful. And he's not a great looking guy. That's what I admire. If you can dress up somebody who isn't Adonis and make him look good, then you've got some talent and you've got something to tell me. If you're like Dolce & Gabbana and you have this Italian guy with big blue eyes, gorgeous body, and you put something on him that looks good, I'm like, what's the difference? I did that. I used to buy clothes from this catalog called Boston Proper. Oh my God, let's see. What was that? Oh my goodness. 30 years ago? Yeah, 30 years ago. Elle Macpherson would wear these clothes. Jumpsuits. She's 6 feet tall. She's got shoulders. She's got everything. She would look fabulous in these jumpsuits, and they were not cheap. They were like $250 back in the day. I didn't care. I wanted them. I would buy them. I would put them on. And I was like, where's Elle Macpherson? Where is she? Where is she? And I'd look in the mirror, and then I'd look at the picture, and I'd look in the mirror. There was all this fabric in the torso area because she has a really long, beautiful torso. So I stopped buying clothes that Elle Macpherson was wearing. And actually, Billy Joel wrote Uptown Girl for Elle Macpherson. Elle Macpherson, Christy Brinkley, and he and other people were in the Caribbean on an island. He's looking at both of these girls. He falls in love with Elle Macpherson and writes Uptown Girl. Christy Brinkley was second choice. And I am buying clothes that Elle Macpherson is wearing. Who am I? Who did I think I was? I thought the outfit was so expensive and so great that it could take me where I've never been. To a place where I'm wearing a jumpsuit and I look great. No. They should have had me modeling that outfit. And then you would have known what you were buying. Yeah. I don't have the body for it. I did it anyway, but I never cut it. In fact, one of them, it was kind of open in the front, not on Elle. It was as tight as a drum. I used to wear that thing and constantly be grabbing both sides so that my little bra wouldn't show. Stupid. But anyway, John Mulaney is just an average looking guy and the clothes look great. So if you are buying your son a shirt, check out these colors. He does a lot of olive, a lot of brown, a lot of maroon, and oh my gosh, it looks fantastic. So, just want you to know things are changing and we're getting hopefully rid of those sneakers, which drive me crazy because it's like Diana Vreeland said, your eye wants to travel. You want to look at a mountainside and have the mountains make your eye travel. You don't want to see a gargantuan boil on the mountain of this home, modern home, that cuts the mountain in half. It irritates you. So does looking at a tuxedo with sneakers. It's just irritating. It doesn't belong that way. It's like a woman in a beautiful gown wearing swimming goggles. Don't do it. You're driving me crazy. I just hope that John Mulaney gets us back to normal, back to where we should be, where if you're wearing nice trousers and a blazer, just keep it up. If you're getting married, have a little respect for the woman. In 2, maybe 5, definitely 10 years, those sneakers are going to be so dated and so stupid, and she's going to be stuck with them. Just give her a break. She's smarter than you are. Just do the right thing. Wear good shoes. So, John Mulaney's starting a movement, and it's a good one. Okay. I looked this up. Okay. Middle age isn't easy, but there's no turning back. Chloe Sevigny. I looked it up. I talked to my French guy. I have this French guy. I say French pronunciation, and I put in Chloe, and he said Sevigny. That's how you pronounce her last name. It's French. I looked it up. The guy said it. He goes, the right pronunciation for this actress who is also into fashion and an author, and now she's a perfumery, Chloe Sevigny. Okay, do either one of those and you'll be great. I looked it up. I just had no idea that's how you say it. It's like 7E. 7E. That's it. 7E. 7 with an E on it. Okay, we can do it. That's her name. She is getting pretty passive-aggressive about aging, and she has a 4-year-old. So at 46, she had her first baby. I think that's amazing. And I think nature is going to give her some youth hormones to keep her around. I think the human body knows you're having a baby late in life, and it gives you the fountain of youth. I really do. I've seen it. I think it's a great idea to have a baby in your 40s, if you can pull it off. So she's pulled it off, but she's really upset about aging. She looks fantastic, of course. And so she's come up with this. She goes, I think aging is really one of the worst things of all time, she says. Maybe it's easier when you're over the hump and just an elegant older lady. Middle age is really tricky. So I go over the hump. But she says it's one of the worst things of all time. Okay, fine. She's come up with a new perfume called Little Flower. And it's a rose scent. And she's like, oh, I wish I thought about this because it smells like grandmother's. I'm like, Chloe, you're losing me. You're losing me. I might have bought this perfume because I actually love roses. And I always did, even when I was 5. Maybe my grandmother smelled like roses. You're not going to attract me by telling me that, oops, I made a mistake, shouldn't have done it. It's almost a joke because it smells like grandmother's. I'm like, Chloe, come on, man. This company you're working for, I mean, seriously, they can't be thrilled about your marketing. They can't be. It's a French company. Maybe they do think it's filled with disdain and they love it. When she was preparing for a cocktail party that she was throwing on the roof of this restaurant to launch her Little Flower, she started screaming about how old she was and how her perfume smelled like grandmother's. Oh, come on, Chloe. We can do better than this. Anyway, grandmothers smell great. What is the problem? In the hump you have to get over? What do you think? We get over the hump and then we turn into elegant old ladies who smell like roses? Come on, Chloe. We're all playing for the same team. We're all in it together. You know, this aging hump thing doesn't really happen. You don't really feel any different. You don't even see it very much in the mirror. You see it in pictures. That's why you don't have your picture taken. I suggest that. And she says, oh, I just wish I could go to a party and not have my picture taken 1,000 times. And I'm like, Chloe, don't worry about it. You're going to turn 50. You'll only be in pictures when you're talking to someone who's 20 and the picture is of that person and you happen to be in it. Okay? All your dreams are going to come true, Chloe. No more pictures. But lay off the grandmothers, please. Please. Leave us alone. Leave us alone. And humps? There really aren't any humps. There's no speed bumps along the way. It's just one long ride, okay? So let it go. And, forget about it. Come up with a new marketing campaign for your perfume, okay? Get the grandmother word out. Okay. Drove me a little crazy. I still can't believe that Cassius Clay thing. And I never read that. Never absorbed it. To me, I thought Lincoln was coming up with all this by himself. Like he was this great orator who was turning the nation around all by his little lonesome. Wow. Would have made a lot of difference if I'd read that in a history book. Okay. Little lacking some sanity today. I can feel it. I can feel it creeping in. But the lucky thing is, it's Thursday. I'm going to the hospital and I will cuddle a baby, which brings me right back to sanity. Lowers my blood pressure. I guess it's like meditation or exercise or yoga. It's my yoga. It's in my babies. And I'll be sane. I'll be sane this afternoon. I know it. If I can just get there. So, anyway, just find your own sanity. Don't buy Chloe's perfume. And I will be back.
They fly so high, nearly reach the sky. Then, like my dream,